मैसेज तो आया होगा आप लोगों को। कितने लोग नीचे गए हैं अभी? तो फिर स्टार्ट करो। हाँ जल्दी आओ। Check your update in your WhatsApp group na. Even I have forwarded one of the questions also. See, and few of the updates on current affair would have been also sent in a PDF format. Is it there? चलो ठीक है. See, this is the last week current affair right from 29th of July, which you have received in PDF format. Each and every part cannot be discussed in class. ठीक है? It is going to take a very long time. So this is based on the Hindu and few of the journals such as Geography and New, Science Daily, and so on. On a daily basis, we are preparing this notes and it will be sent it to you. Right? Classes में we are going to go in detail. So in last class we finished till Malthus, and I told you to study with the concept of food security. So today first topic will be food security. Give the heading. So what is food security? Any idea? And for poor or rich mat karna isme. It includes each and every aspect. Everybody should have that. So there is first thing ki there must be physical availability of food. There are 4 dimensions of food security. So first is physical availability of food. Then फिर लिखना शुरू कर दिया टॉपिक. बाद में कर लेना. इकोनॉमिक एंड फिजिकल एक्सेस इज सेकंड. पैसा नहीं रहेगा तो कहां से खरीदेगा? एंड फिजिकल एक्सेस. Then comes the stability. That means कि if I am going to have some money to buy the food today, I must have adequate income to buy it tomorrow also. And the last component is your food utilization. See, this definition comes from food utilization. World Food Summit. It was organized by FAO, that is Farming and Agriculture Organization. It is supported by the UN. It is headquarters. It is in Italy, Rome, and from there this definition comes. Right. So write it down. Based on the 1996 World Food Summit. Now draw this chart. And see, now you must also try to develop this ability to build the flow charts. इसमें नंबर ज्यादा मिलता है. Economic and physical access, physical availability, food utilization, and stability. So based on 1996 World Food Summit, there are 4 dimensions There are 4 dimensions of food security. 1 2 3 करके लिखना. Physical availability of food. Physical availability of food. This addresses who is the slowest writer in this class. सबसे स्लो कौन लिखता है? आगे बैठो. Basically on the front desk what they are writing, I am taking their speed only. ठीक है, तो बहुत का छूट जाएगा. It addresses the supply side. It addresses the supply side and is determined by the level of food production. In India, the food production has increased or decreased this year? This year it has decreased. We have a net decrease in wheat production. And India's buffer stock, they have to maintain approximately 200 million tons. So it is not being fulfilled. So now this year, India is going to import the wheat. So wheat prices are going to escalate. Second is economic and physical access. Economic and physical access. What's your name? Yukmaya. Please try to increase your speed. You have to write down 3000 words in approximately 3 hours. इतना धीरे लिखेगा तो पेपर छूटेगा. Practice it. ठीक है? Economic and physical access. The supply side does not guarantee the level of food security as the income expenditure, market and prices are necessary to achieve food security. See, recently the price of tomato was some 100-120, so people were unable to take that. Third is food utilization. Food utilization. It is commonly understood as the way the body makes various nutrients from the food. Sufficient energy and nutrient intake the feeding practices, food preparation diversity in the diet, combined by good biological utilization is necessary. Now recently Government of India has launched a program that 80 crores of the कितना लेट आई, कहाँ था 2 दिन पिछला बार? ओके 11:30 कैसे गया मैसेज आप लोगों को? वो तो मुझे पता है बट चलो ठीक है। दिस इज पैथेटिक। चलो अभी अगला टॉपिक से लिखना अभी, ठीक है, स्ट्रेटजी शुरू करना। आई हैव नॉट गॉन फॉर मेनी थिंग्स, ठीक है। Now, recently, Government of India has launched a program where they are giving free rations to some 80 crores of the people, right? Does it consist of this food utilization? What they are providing in that ration system? Any idea? Rice and wheat, one pulses, but it is only the things which a nutrition component is consisting of? You require more and more protein, you require leafy vegetables, you require fruit, but that nutrition component is missing. And recently the government of India in the Lok Sabha itself, I think in July itself, the Minister of Child and Women Welfare has stated that 50% of the child below 6 years are stunted, wasted or malnutrition. I'm going to provide you that data. It is a current one, so you have to write down. Now see, food security can be asked in your essay. It can be asked in some 250 were related to India. So extensively we are going to cover it. ठीक है, उसको भी थोड़ा देर बात करना. Just leave one page. ठीक है. And I don't know how you have this message. Each and every student is saying 11:30 था sir, 11:30 था sir. You received this current affairs? चलो I'm going to talk about after the class, ठीक है? Why it is so mismanaged? So ठीक है. The last is stability. Even if your food intake stability, I joined very late. I joined ALS in some November, and I took only few of the sections of your geography. This time I will be taking it extensively. Even if your food intake is adequate today, you are still considered to be food insecure if you have inadequate access to food for a periodic basis. Now again, Government of India has launched one program that is called midday meal scheme. Do you know about it? So is it a stability factor? नहीं. दोपहर का खाना तो दे दिया. And what about the night food? So most of the students who are studying in their in government college, they are basically the kids of daily wage earners or laborer class. That is the reality. Okay? If you are having better income, nobody is going to send their kid to government schools. I'm not talking about Delhi, but you visit the schools in Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra or MP also, then you are going to find this one. And at the same time, there were reported news that students were given only some rotis with some salt in Uttar Pradesh schools, and that reporter who reported it, he was jailed. So again, that is the reality. It is a news now. So again, this factor is not, if it is not achieved that kid must have a breakfast, must have a lunch or a dinner. That is a 3-time access to food. then if this axis is not there, the factor of stability is not there, right? Strategy. The World Bank works with partner to build food system. Activity includes, point wise लिखना, activity includes first, बहुत स्लो माया, मेरा पूरा स्पीड खराब हो जाएगा. Strengthening safety nets to ensure that vulnerable families have access to food and water and money. Food, water and money to make vital purchases. Second, delivering expedited expedited emergency support by fast tracking finances. Third, instrument includes rapid country diagnostic and data-based monitoring Fourth, monitoring the country. That means ki, what is the situation of the hunger index in your Africa, India, or developing, or see, there is a concept of least income group companies. Then it is a least to middle income group companies, and there is high income group companies. I think in class I have told you that the amount of food which is being wasted in USA that can feed whole of the Africa for 5 years. So from where this data is generated? So you must have an accurate data, and you will be surprised to know that at WTO meeting there is a common thinking that government of India is providing 80% of the subsidy to the farmers. उनके दिमाग में ये रहता है कि गवर्नमेंट 80% सब्सिडी दे रही है. And what the subsidy reality in India is getting in farmers? It is very minimal. They are not having, even the MSP has on many of the products has not been guaranteed. तो ये डेटा कहाँ से आएगा? तो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया हैज इटसेल्फ नॉट प्रोवाइडेड दैट सेम डेटा. तो WTO के मीटिंग्स में, बिकॉज वन ऑफ माय फ्रेंड विजिटेड दोहा एंड ही सेड कि द मोस्ट ऑफ द नेशन ऑफ द वेस्ट दे हैव अ थिंकिंग दैट गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया इज प्रोवाइडिंग 80% ऑफ सब्सिडी. नाउ there is a concept that if you are going to provide the subsidy, we are now a free market, open market. ठीक है, liberalization का मतलब ही यही था, to ease your norms so that trade can flourish. ठीक है, then there comes the privatization and the globalization. So after liberalization, if suppose I am providing, the government of India is going to provide the subsidy, how the farmers who are producing in USA or the West will be able to compete with the Indian farmers? जबकि इसका रिवर्स है. If you are going to go by the data, the government of USA provide more subsidy to your to USA farmers. They have green box, blue box and amber box subsidies. That is post cultivation, during cultivation and post harvesting. तो ये डेटा जब तक मॉनिटर नहीं होगा तब तक कहाँ से आएगा? अभी जैसे गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया भी क्या कहा कि मिनिस्टर हैज ऑलरेडी एक्सेप्टेड कि 50% ऑफ द चिल्ड्रन आर स्टंटेड, malnutrition. तो डेटा कहाँ से आया? Now these data are basically based on the census one, first thing. Second, there is a periodic review by NSSO, National Sample Survey Organization also. And there is a ministry-wise data concentration. So until unless you are not going to cover the data, how you are going to frame the mechanism itself? अब आप खुद बोल रहे हो 50% बच्चा ये है, तो अभी आपको क्या करना है? अब उसके लिए now again you have to enhance different food security programs. We have National Food Security Act also, वो भी मैं लिखवाऊंगा. And what are the challenges? ठीक है, कंटिन्यू करते हैं. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, promoting farming system that use climate smart techniques. Now climate is changing, so it is going to have an adverse impact on the agriculture growth. वो तो हो ही रहा है. Next, improving supply chain to reduce post-harvest food losses. And improving hygiene in food. What is the loss of food in post-harvest practices in India? कितना % होना चाहिए? कितना लॉस होता है पोस्ट हार्वेस्टिंग टेक्निक्स में? Any idea? It is approximately 20%. And if I'm going to talk about the hygiene, okay, we are having the worst quality of the food standards. If you are going to get by the data, 99% of your food products are going to fail if you are going to compare it with the EU standards. आपका कोई प्रोडक्ट अच्छा नहीं है. Even the vegetables which you are eating in Delhi, it is contaminated and it is carcinogenic. तो दिल्ली की सब्जी कभी मत खाना. बट अगेन मजबूरी है आप लोगों के लिए, क्या कर सकते हैं, हम लोग के लिए मजबूरी है. बिकॉज द वाटर विच इज यूटिलाइज इट कंसिस्ट ऑफ हेवी लेड एंड आर्सेनिक एंड देयर इज अ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ बायोमैग्निफिकेशन. ये समझता है बायोमैग्निफिकेशन क्या होता है? नहीं. हाँ, सी देयर इज अ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ फूड चेन. ठीक है, तो फूड चेन में क्या होता है? देयर इज अ ग्रास एंड दिस ग्रास इज बीइंग ईटन बाय ग्रास हॉपर्स एंड इट इज ईटन बाय frog is eaten by snake and snake is eaten by eagle or vultures. So this grass, and we are using heavy amount of pesticides and fertilizers. तो यहाँ पे सपोज करो कि 0.01 मिलीग्राम आया, आपने पेस्टिसाइड्स किया. इट इज ग्रास हॉपर्स कितना है एज कंपेयर टू द नंबर ऑफ ग्रास? तो लेट इट बी 100 को कितना फ्रॉग खाएगा? 10. स्नेक कितना खाएगा? 5. ईगल कितना खाएगा? 1. तो एज दीज आर कॉल्ड द ट्रॉफिक लेवल्स. So if you are going to increase the trophic level, the number of the predators sitting, they are going to reduce. But suppose if it is 0.1 mg and there is 1000 of the grass, तो कितना हो गया? मल्टीप्लाई करो. तो यहाँ पर क्या होगा? It will become approximately 1 mg. यहाँ पे कितना हो जाएगा? 10 milligram. यहाँ पे कितना हो जाएगा? 50 milligram. And if the eagle is eating it, it is directly consuming 50 milligram. So at each and every trophic level, there is increase in the concentration of pesticides and the fertilizers. Similarly, in Kerala, they use it for the cashew nut production. There is a pesticide called indosulfan, and it has led to the problem of that cancer-causing agent. So Kerala mein this indosulfan is directly in use. And similarly, there are two things which is used in animal husbandry, that is diclofenac and oxytocin. So oxytocin is basically given to the cows so that they can produce more and more milk. And after that, when the cow is going to be dead, it is being eaten by vultures. So again, there is a concept of biomagnification in them. And it has been seen that their eggs of the vulture, their shell, which is made up of a calcium, it broke very easily. So the population of vulture declined. So even hygiene standards से इंडिया में food नहीं खाते हैं हम लोग. And again, what is the concept of eating a food if you want to have or to contain more nutritional values? अपने यहाँ कैसे खाना बनता है? Most of the vegetable which is being eaten by the European Union nations or the Soviet Union, or even in fact the Central Asia, if you're going to go by the food practices in USA or South America, it is half baked. So the nutritional value is still preserved. हम लोग क्या करते हैं, पूरा बॉयल करके पूरा तेल में छान के उसको खाते हैं, तो nutritional value is wasted. And again there is a concept of polished food and non-polished food. ठीक है, तो what type of food you eat in general, polished or non-polished? You eat polished one. And once a food is polished, its nutritional value is going to decrease. But polished food tastes good. Unpolished does not taste very good, but they have more nutritional value. So even rice or any pulses which you are taking, it is a polished one. ये मत सोचना कि unpolished ले रहे हैं, सारा polished खा रहे हो, दूर से चमकता है दिखने में. And if you are going to go by rice production, it is a bit brownish in color, but again it is polished and it become white. तो unpolished food खाना चाहिए. Next point. Applying an integrated One Health approach to managing risk associated with animal, human, and environmental health, sorry. Next, supporting investment okay, good morning Veer, please dictate notes little bit slow. अब इससे स्लो क्या जाऊं यार, माया भी मुझे स्लो कर दे रही है, आप भी मुझे स्लो करो. अब supporting investment in research and development that enables increasing the micronutrient content of food. Content of food. For this, what process is required? To achieve this point, which process is required? अभी last class में ही पढ़ा था, biofortification. ठीक है. Next, working with private sector, government, scientists, and other stakeholders to strengthen capacities to assess and manage food safety risks in low and middle income group countries. Low and middle income group countries. See, overall our GDP is increasing, but India is basically in low and middle group income countries. We have high inequality in income. Now, change the paragraph. India has done well to expand food production after Green Revolution. Over 70%, now these are the datas, over 70% of rural Indian household agriculture, comma, agriculture, including livestock, still remains the principal source of livelihood. India has seen six-fold increase in food grain production from 50 million tons 50 million tons in 1950-51 to 300 million tons in 2019-20. With this, India has become a net food exporter and 9th largest exporter. But it is overall data. We are net importer in pulses. We have not achieved self-sufficiency in pulses. The share of agriculture and allied sector, the share of agriculture and allied sector in the total gross value of the economy is 18.8% in 21-22 change the paragraph. As the impact of various government schemes the level of undernutrition from 2005 to 2019 stunting STUNTING. What is stunting? हाँ, बेटर ग्रोथ नहीं हो पाना, ठीक है. Stunting below 5 years have decreased from 48 to 35% approx, from 48 to 35%, and proportion of underweight dropped from 43 to 32%. Dropped to 43 to 32%. Now try to remember some of the data. Approx लिख सकते हो, ठीक है. 40 to 30% लिख सकते हो, मगर just write approx value. But if you are going to substantiate your answer or your essay by the number, fact and figure, obviously you will be able to fetch more marks. देखो, if the examiner is very happy that you have written very well, according to him, he is only going to reward you some 60% of the marks. वो इतना अगर खुश हो जाए कि मुझसे अच्छा लिख दिया है ना, तो 10 में 6 नंबर पकड़ाएगा. ये ध्यान रखना. छोटा क्वेश्चन होता है तो मार्क्स ज्यादा आता है, ये भी ध्यान रखना. अगर 5 मार्कर्स आ गया तो उसमें 4 तक जा सकता है. अगर फिर 20 मार्कर का है तो भूल जाओ कि आपको 15 नंबर मिलने वाला है, नहीं मिलेगा. बहुत हुआ तो 12 इज हाईएस्ट. कितना भी अच्छा लिख के आओ, क्योंकि गलती तो होगी. एंड इट इज नॉट स्टैंडर्ड 10th एग्जाम की 100 आउट ऑफ 100 आ जाएगा. नीट की तरह ऐसा नहीं कि 67 इज गोइंग टू सिक्योर सम 720 मार्क्स. ठीक है. चैलेंजेस. Firstly, challenges, first, second, third, point wise likhna. Growth rate in agriculture has been fluctuating. Why? Due to erratic nature of monsoon and climate change. Due to erratic nature of monsoon and climate change. And you can see what is happening in Kerala. And the pattern of the monsoon is shifting. Initially, the heavy rainfall was, though it was initially right from the Kerala, but intensity is shifting. That means in very short duration of time, you are going to get more and more rainfall. Earlier, it was the Konkan coast. Now it is shifting towards Kerala. And see what is happening in Wayanad. तो कितना था? 4 गांव था, चारों गया, कोई नहीं बचा. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, और क्या चैलेंज हो सकता है, डिस्कस करो. क्या चैलेंज है इंडिया में इसके लिए फूड सिक्योरिटी को लेके? पॉवर्टी इज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ इकोनॉमिक इनइक्वालिटी दैट इज रिलेटेड टू द एक्सेसिबिलिटी ऑफ द फूड. करेक्ट, राइट इट डाउन. सेकंड पॉइंट खुद जनरेट करो ना यार. इकोनॉमिक, पहले लिख लेते हैं उसका डिस्कस. इकोनॉमिक इनइक्वालिटी, what is the data? 76% of the wealth is with 1% of the India. And how many people are earning above 25,000 rupees per month in India? Only 4 crore out of 150. अब 10% कहाँ, लेस देन 10% कहाँ आ गया यार? It is near about 2.5% of Indians. Sorry, 76% of the wealth is with 1% of the India. So only 1.5 crore is controlling 76% of the wealth. So that is the income inequality in India. It's a very huge gap. And how many people in India can spend 10,000 rupees per month? Any idea? It is near about 2% only. So see how privileged you all are. इंडिया का मतलब यहां पर मत देखना. इंडिया देखना है ना तो घूमो, तब पता चलेगा क्या इनकम इनइक्वालिटी है. ठीक है. हाँ, और चैलेंजेस बताओ. हाँ, प्रॉब्लम इन फूड सप्लाई चेन which leads to wastage. और बताओ, पीछे के पॉइंट से ही देखो ना, मिल जाएगा. हाँ, लैंड डिग्रेडेशन पढ़ाया था ना, लिखो. डिग्रेडेशन ऑफ लैंड constitute a major threat to food and environmental security. Any more? पीछे देखो, उसी से मिल जाएगा. अभी हाइजीन पे बात किया था, बताया था ना कार्सिनोजेनिक है. फूड कंटामिनेशन, न्यूट्रिशनल वैल्यू कहाँ रह गया? नहीं है ना. तो फूड कंटामिनेशन इज वन ऑफ द रीजन. राइट इट डाउन. फूड कंटामिनेशन from untreated water, fertilizers and pesticides, and poor waste management hampers the food security. पहले गांव में सब कहाँ जाता था? खेत में. तो वो contaminated नहीं करेगा. But ultimately it was converted into the manure. Now government has started a program स्वच्छ भारत अभियान, जिसमें टॉयलेट बनाया. तो उसके बाद क्या हुआ? सब्जी का टेस्ट चेंज हो गया. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज there is social and economic disparity, specifically in women and children's. Any more points? Adulteration. Which organization is responsible for it to check this all adulteration? FASI. FASSI. Write it down. Food adulteration. Improper storage. In last class we have discussed. Write down one data. 79% of the rural women, approximately 80% कर लो, workers in farming and agriculture have limited voice and security, and only 13% have land holding in their name. According to the recent data, 36% of the child under 6 are malnutritioned. 6% wasted. WASTED. What is wasted? Very thin. 17% are underweight. It is approximately 8.5 crore. तो गवर्नमेंट खुद कह रही है कि अप्रोक्सीमेटली 60% आर अंडर न्यूट्रिशन. नेक्स्ट चैलेंज, COVID-19 has further impacted food supplies, livelihood, and ability to access affordable nutrition food. अब आइए गवर्नमेंट क्या कर रही है. नेशनल फूड सिक्योरिटी एक्ट 2013. नेशनल फूड सिक्योरिटी एक्ट 2013. It aims to provide for food and nutritional security by ensuring access to adequate quantity and quality, to adequate quantity and quality, food at affordable prices, food at affordable prices. Is it happening at present time? The answer is no. See, if there is a GDP growth that is poised to be around some 7%, then there is one concept of your consumption also. ठीक है, in economics you have to study. Economics तो हुआ नहीं अभी, history चल रहा है ना. So there is a consumption index. ठीक है. So if your GDP is around 7%, then your consumption index is around 6% or 6.5 or maybe 5.5. At present time it is only 3.5%. And the savings is all-time low. That means people are affordable, the food which is people are having, it is not affordable, and it is not affordable or accessible to all. So what data I have given, only 4 crore people are earning some 25,000 and above. So that means 25,000, what is their net food basket? If you are going to consider it as a family of a 4. And generally we have seen that it is a traditional one that ki male is going to work and female is basically a housewife. But these data of the housewives are being challenged in the urban places. यहाँ पे change हो रहा है. Both our partners are working, but in most of the cases it is the male who is working. So in 25,000, what their consumption will be? So the new data which is being ensured by the, which is being given by the different, not by the government itself, but different organization, that the consumption of food has declined by some 60%. Because you have to pay the rent, you have to pay the kids school fees, your transportation and so on. So it has decreased by some 60%. Now, if it has decreased by 60%, obviously the nutrition value and the accessibility and affordability of food is compromised. What is the value of a 1 liter of an sarson til jo leta hai? It is around 130. And what is the price of pulses? Round it is 150 per kg. And pulses is required for the nutritional value. तो 2.5-25 जो कमा रहा है वो कहाँ से खाएगा? Similarly, what is the price of wheat at present time? अन्नपूर्णा आटा लेगा तो कितने का आता है? It is around 40 to 42 rupees per kg. And what is the price which the farmer is getting for wheat? No, उतना भी कम नहीं. It is around 21 to 22 rupees. तो see कैसे supply food chain में कैसे वो double हो गया? So you have to reduce these prices. You have to contain this inflation. And there is again one CPI measures, that is consumer price index. वो पढ़ा होगा. तो inflation उससे हम लोग adjust कर देता है. But you must also consider the amount of whole food basket also. That is wholesale price index, WPI. ये भी economics में आप लोगों को पढ़ना है कैसे कैसे होता है. मेरा उतना अच्छा नहीं, बस जो जानता हूँ उतना बता सकता हूँ. चलिए, गवर्नमेंट इंटरवेंशन. पहला, नेशनल फूड सिक्योरिटी मिशन. 1, 2, 3 करके लिखना. मिशन. सेकेंड, राष्ट्रीय कृषि विकास योजना. राष्ट्रीय कृषि विकास योजना. महात्मा गांधी नेशनल रूरल एम्प्लॉयमेंट गारंटी एक्ट, मनरेगा. But again there is a 40% of leakage. Next is palm oil and maize. Sorry, integrated scheme on oil seeds, pulses, palm oil and maize. Next, प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना. प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना. नेशनल रूरल लाइवलीहुड मिशन. नेशनल रूरल लाइवलीहुड मिशन. मिड डे मील स्कीम. पब्लिक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिस्टम. पोषण अभियान. इट इज अ रिसेंट वन, तो इसको मैं लिखवा देता हूं. पोषण अभियान launched in March 2018. Refocused the national agenda on nutrition. So this portion is basically related with the nutrition programs. Now you can attach many more factors. ठीक है, तो आपका जो फॉर्मेट रहेगा आंसर का वो इसी तरीके से होना चाहिए. If it is an essay, you can elaborate it. उसको कुछ भी लिख सकते हो इस पे. ठीक है, any questions? But try to substantiate your answer with some data. अगर जहां पर डेटा है तो वहां पे जरूर दो. देख लो, just go through it. If you are unable to understand any of the points, और ये जो बीच में बायो मैग्निफिकेशन ये सब आता जा रहा है तो उसको लिखते जाना साइड में कहीं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल डाइक्लोफेनाक, ऑक्सीटोसिन, इंडोसल्फान, यू कैन कोट दिस इन योर आंसर. इट इज, बट इट इज बेसिकली यूज्ड. इट इज स्टिल यूज्ड. इंडिया में बहुत कुछ बैन है, मगर क्या कहोगे, गवर्नमेंट ऐसा क्वेश्चन पूछने से पहले बता दिया करना, इसको ऑफ कर लूंगा, बहुत दिक्कत हो जाएगी नहीं तो. अब इंडिया में तो प्लास्टिक पे बैन है, सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक, एंड इट वाज टू बी फिनिश्ड टिल 2022 ओनली. वहां तक ही टारगेट था. हुआ? देख लो, हर जगह आराम से मिल रहा है कि नहीं सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक, आराम से चल रहा है. तो फिर भी तो सिंगल यूज तो चल ही रहा है ना, भले साइज चेंज कर दिया. Now suppose करो कि why you are taking money or banning the vendors जब ड्राइव आता है, तो why don't you stop the company from making those things? पूरा ही रिवर्स आइडियोलॉजी है ना इंडिया में. अभी माइनिंग पढ़ाऊंगा, माइनिंग पे भी न्यूज है तो बताऊंगा अभी, तो उसमें याद आएगा ये चीज. बट सपोज कि इफ यू वुड हैव स्टॉप्ड दिस इलीगल और द सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक्स, देन यू हैव प्रमोटेड द कॉटेज इंडस्ट्रीज, क्वार इंडस्ट्रीज, बाम्बू इंडस्ट्रीज. तो इसमें क्या होता, प्रोडक्शन ज्यादा होता. दे आर ऑल इको फ्रेंडली नेचर. इवन एट प्रेजेंट टाइम वी हैव अ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ प्लास्टिक पर्दा. वो जो क्या कहते हैं, पर्दा को क्या बोलते हैं इंग्लिश में यार, कर्टन, प्लास्टिक कर्टन आ गया ना. नाउ व्हाई नॉट पीपल आर बीइंग मोर गिवन अ थॉट कि व्हाई कांट यू यूज द क्वार कर्टन. एंड LFP or the Alappuzha, it is approximately produces 85% of the coir in India alone. एक ही जगह से उतना आ रहा है. But government is though promoting it, at the same time we also know that mentality of the people are not changing. तो बैन तो वो भी है. ठीक है, अगर मैं सिंपल आपकी दवाइयों के बारे में बात करूं ना, तो रिसेंटली रिपोर्ट हैज बीन पब्लिश्ड कि अप्रोक्सीमेटली 26 सिंपल ड्रग्स वो काउंटरफीट है, खराब है. सबका रिजल्ट लिस्ट आया था भाई. व्हाट द गवर्नमेंट इज डूइंग, दे आर बिजी इन बेसिकली बैलेंसिंग द आंध्र प्रदेश एंड बिहार. वही चल रहा है ना. चलो, कोई क्वेश्चन है? इनइफेक्टिव को कैसे लिखेगा? हाँ, लिख सकते हो, यू कैन राइट इट डाउन. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, फसाई, इट इज नॉट वर्किंग प्रॉपरली. ठीक है, तो यू कैन राइट इट डाउन इनइफेक्टिव. देखो, यू कैन जनरेट मेनी मोर पॉइंट्स, ठीक है, बट इट हैज टू बी जस्टिफाइड. तो इनइफेक्टिव इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ फूड सिक्योरिटी नॉर्म्स. But this is a challenge of the bureaucracy, and who the bureaucrats are. यहीं से गया होगा ना कोई किसी न किसी में. ये मेरे क्लास से, किसी न किसी क्लास से तो पहुंचा होगा, वही तो चोरी कर रहा है. तो जो आप ही लोग चोर हो, दैट इज द रियलिटी. आई एम ऑल्सो बट द पार्ट ऑफ दैट सिस्टम. तो जो आप ही लोग चोर हो, तो बचाएगा कौन? हुआ ना भाई, लास्ट क्लास में वी हैव डिस्कस्ड अबाउट द फ्लैश फ्लड इन अर्बन सिटीज. और क्या हुआ? अगले दिन 3 लोग चला गया ना. तो who is there is a commissioner in MCD, there is a deputy commissioner in MCD, and who is that commissioner? He is an IAS. I know that person, 2010 batch का है. I'm not going to name it, but what she is doing. At the same time, there is a group of engineers. तो who the engineers are यार? आप ही लोग तो बनते हो जाके ना. JE है, ये सब है. तो क्या कर रहा है? कुछ नहीं कर रहा है. जबकि there was a complaint which was filed on the same campus. तो क्या किया गवर्नमेंट? कुछ नहीं किया, ना पुलिस किया. कितनी बार कहा है 200 रुपया मत खाना, तो ये सब 200 रुपया खा रहा है. 10 रो खाया होता तो इतना नहीं होता. चलो, नेक्स्ट टॉपिक इज माइनिंग, विच इज वेरी रैम्पेंट इन इंडिया. इलीगल माइनिंग तो 1000 जगहों पे हो रही है, ठीक है. Now, recently, mining is news because of the Hasdeo jungles. It is situated in Chhattisgarh, and Ambani has been given the contract of open cast mining. ठीक है, तो it is related to that. Prior to that, there was a company called Vedanta. तो उसका भी काफी हंगामा हुआ था, and it was in the Niamgiri Hills. That was in Odisha. ठीक है, तो अभी this is in news. Now, what challenges we are facing? What the mining is the sector is taking a growth in India, or is it in decline? India is a net exporter or net importer of ores. Obviously, the mining is done for ores only. Any idea? In India is a net importer of the ores. Even iron ore यहाँ पे import हो रहा है. Copper, it is being imported, and there is a net decline in the mining sector by 2%. Its contribution is insignificant. So if it is on decline, for example, even the coal, we does not have very high grade quality of the coal. So the best quality of coal, that is anthracite, it is being imported from Australia to the Visakhapatnam port. And recently you might have known about that coal which is being imported from the Malaysia by the Adani group and sold at very high prices to government of India itself. It was sold to the Tamil Nadu thermal power plants. So if it is in decline, then what are the issues which are related with the mining? क्या चल रहा है इंडिया में अभी? सोचो. Exploitation of resources, ठीक है, I can take that point. Any more? हाँ, basically it is related with the rights of the tribal people. If you are going to look for the mining sector, most of the mines are related in, अभी मत लिखो, they have the forest cover. And if you are going to look for their distribution, there is on an average basis, this question is being asked ki why your Gondwana land or why the peninsular plateau is rich in mineral resources. क्या होगा इसका आंसर? Most of the mining is in peninsular plateau. ठीक है, though there is a concept of illegal mining in Meghalaya also, that is rat hole mining of the coals. मेघालय इज ऑल्सो कोल रिच रीजन, इट इज रिच इन कैल्शियम ऑल्सो, क्रिटेशियस में बना था, दैट वाज अ पीरियड. बट व्हाई दिस सदर्न पेनिनसुलर प्लेटू is rich in mineral deposits? Just Goa, it is famous for iron. Karnataka, it is again famous for iron. Then gold deposits, zinc, bauxite. Okay, even in Chhattisgarh, it is chromium. In Jharkhand, it is your coal. In Telangana, Rayalaseema region or the section of the Andhra, it is again known for the coal deposits and the deposits of the iron ore and so on. ऐसा क्यों है? Why most of the mineral resources are only confined in this southern plateau? During the converging of the plates, no. Okay, for this you have to understand few of the basic thing. See, there is a difference between the magma and the lava. Okay, what is magma? It is a molten rock. If it is lying below the surface, it is magma, and when it comes out to the surface, it is lava. But if you are going to go by the chemical composition, this magma is again divided into two types: basic and acidic. ठीक है? Have you studied acid and base? Standard 8 में तो पढ़ा होगा. So what is the definition of acid and base? सब स्टैंडर्ड 9 10th पढ़ो. हाँ, तो किस में? एसिड में H प्लस OH माइनस. NaOH पढ़ा था ना, और HCl पढ़ा था ना. तो अगेन यू कैन मेजर द एसिडिटी और बेसिडिटी डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द pH स्केल. तो 0 से 14 पे होता है, एंड 7 इज न्यूट्रल. दिस इज योर प्योर वाटर. ठीक है? सो दिस इज योर H2O एंड 7.2 इज योर ब्लड. सलाइवा इज अप्रोक्सीमेटली 6.8, बट अगेन इट इज एसिडिक. ठीक है? So, if I am going to take about the basic and acidic, periodic table याद है? उसके राइट में बेस होता था कि लेफ्ट में होता था? If you are going to open the periodic table, the left hand side is going to consist of bases or the right hand side? Left होता था. It is basic. Sodium, potassium, ठीक है? They are all basic. So basic lava consists of more metals, and acidic lava consists of more silica. This is the basic difference. And as you said, the plate tectonic, it is not related with that directly. ठीक है? So your formation of the peninsular plateau, or basically the major part of it, is your Deccan Trap. See, there is a difference between the peninsular plateau and the Deccan Trap. यही बता देता हूँ. Deccan is different, peninsular plateau is different. Deccan Trap, basically Deccan is the area which is lying south of Satpura, on the west of the Eastern Ghat and east of the Western Ghat. ठीक है? आप लोग मैप तो लेके आया नहीं होगा? ये यहां, ये यहां, ये यहां. So when lava erupted, it was a basic lava, and that basic lava filled the gap in between the southern part of Satpura, western part of the Eastern Ghat, and the eastern part of the Western Ghat. This is your Deccan Trap or the Deccan Plateau. Peninsular Plateau consists of many different plateaus. ठीक है? जैसे कि छोटा नागपुर प्लेटू. एंड दिस रीजन, इट कंसिस्ट ऑफ सिंघभूम, क्रेटॉन. क्रेटॉन मीन्स बेसिकली कॉन्टिनेंट. इट्स अ ग्रीक वर्ड. So this Singhbhum craton, and it has been proved in last year, it is the first land to emerge, and obviously by the volcanic eruption. Again, in geography you have to study about the different types of rock. ठीक है, जैसे there is a concept of your sedimentary, igneous and metamorphic. That is the basic thing. But there are the rocks which are being formed in different ages. So India has Archean rock system. Okay, that is the oldest rock system. It is going to have the iron ore, it is going to have the zinc, it is going to have the gold and the silver. Then there is a Gondwana rock system. Your 98% of the coal is lying in the Gondwana region, and this 98% coal is consisting in your Jharkhand itself. Okay. Then there is a Kadapa rock system, Dharwar rock system, Rayalaseema and Telangana rock system. बहुत सारा है, तो उसको पढ़ना है आप लोगों को, कुछ कुछ पढ़ना है, ठीक है. Now, as this was the basic lava, and basic lava consists of more metals. That's why your peninsular block is mineral rich region, and all these regions are heavily forested, and these forests are being dwelled by tribals, and these tribals are basically based on the resources obtained from the forests. अब वहां पर आप करने जा रहे हो mining. So there is a region in Chhattisgarh itself, and there is a river called Brahmani river which crosses through it. चलो वो आएगा, उसमें मैंने उसे मार्क नहीं किया था. तो what impact this mining is going to have? तो आपने कहा एक ट्राइबल राइट्स, ठीक है, और बताओ. लॉस ऑफ बायोडाइवर्सिटी, गो ऑन. क्या ह्यूमन इकोनॉमिक ज्योग्राफी पीछे ही पढ़ा है वही सब चीज ना, यूटिलाइज करो. It is Sukinda Valley, Jajpur district, which produces 97% of chromite in Odisha, and it is the 4th polluted place in the world. तो mining से pollution होगा, तो it leads to pollution. Deforestation होगा, तो deforestation is occurring. सोचो ना बस ऐसे ही, degradation of land होगा, हो जाएगा. Ground water table dip होगा, वो भी हो जाएगा. और वो पॉल्यूशन रिवर्स को पॉल्यूट करेगा, तो आपके फूड को कंटामिनेट करेगा, फूड चेन को. तो दैट इज गोइंग ऑन. एट द सेम टाइम ये कितना कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहा है? 4.55% अलोन. इफ यू आर गोइंग टू लुक फॉर द झारखंड, इट हैज 208 माइंस. it almost contributes 17% of the ore production. Chhattisgarh has 54 mines and contributes approx 30% of ore production, and Odisha 5% only. So these three states alone are going to produce approximately some 50%, half of the ore productions. And again, if you are going to look by the data, this Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand and the Odisha, they are the poorest of the state. So is the benefit of this mining sector is being given to the locals? जा कहाँ रहा है सब? There is anyone from UP? कोई है? उत्तर प्रदेश? कहाँ से हो आप? कर्नाटक. And you are from? बिहार से हो. चलो. UP में there is a district called Sonbhadra district. It is the only district which touches the 5 states in India. It consists of what data I had in some 2020 के data दे रहा हूँ. It consists of some major 33 industrial units. And that Sonbhadra district is a tribal belt, and it is the poorest district in Uttar Pradesh. So again, the benefit of this mining is not being provided to the locals. Again, if I'm going to go for the deforestation, then there will be a displacement of the local, and displacement required rehabilitation. हो रहा है. They are not being equally compensated. And even if they are being offered, for example, the case of Niyamgiri, it is written that they offered that we are going to give you jobs, we are going to provide you school, we are going to provide you hospitals. Hua? Nahi hua. And what job you are going to offer to a tribal? Labor job. So are their condition are being uplifted? The answer is no. And at present, there are 108 sites in Aravalli itself, that is the report of the Supreme Court, that is undergoing heavy mining sector. Is mining sector regulated? Only on the policy. If is regulated, is there a concept of illegal mining? Yes, it is very rampant in your Madhya Pradesh. In 2012, there was a IPS, and there is a district in MP called Murana. So very famous. It is known for your Bihar. You can study that case. So he was a very fresh recruitee, and he thought that at the same time a movie called Singham was released. So he thought I am a Singham. So there was illegal trolley which was carrying up the illegal ore or the stones, and he stood in between. He jumped on the trolley. अरे भाई IPS हो, दिमाग लगाओ, हर जगह ताकत नहीं लगाना है. So what the trolley man did, now obviously if a labor class is driving a trolley or a tractor, do you think that he is going to recognize by your uniform that you are an SP or a constable? कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता उसको. He is not able to recognize that you have a 3-star, you have a sword, you have a baton, you are an IG. For them, you are a constable itself. So what he did, he crushed that IPS. His wife was IPS. The father-in-law was DG, was IG in Uttar Pradesh. Nothing could have been done. कुछ नहीं हुआ. So there is a concept of illegal mining. Even if you are from Bihar, there is a place called Ara. Near that place, there is a illegal sand mining, and it is done for the thousands and 5,000s of the truck. So it is basically going to lead to have an indirect and an inverse impact on the river, which is termed as Son. वहाँ से हो रहा है. At the same time, there is a illegal rat hole mining in Meghalaya. There is a illegal mining in Karnataka. Do you know that Bellari brothers? पता है ना? So they are. बाप रे नाम ले लिया. Sorry. ठीक है. Similarly, if you are going to go to Goa, again there is a illegal mining of this iron ore, and you can talk to your friend about the Karnataka section. ठीक है. अभी नाम नहीं लूँगा अब. हाँ, गोवा से भी हो रहा है. And if you are going to look for audit, is there any regular audit of these mining activities is taking place? The answer is no. So ultimately, it is going to have an adverse impact on many of the things. Okay. And I have given one question on mining itself. आज ही वो कल ही देना था मगर आज आया आपके पास. Sorry for that. लिखते हैं. Sufficient geological evidence points out mineral deposit like bauxite, iron, coal, etc. are found in India. The southern plateau and the Deccan is basically formed from basic lava outpour. That's why has more metallic minerals. The state of Jharkhand contributes 17%, Chhattisgarh 29.25%, and Odisha 4.55% in the value of the mineral production. According to the Ministry of Mines, for the year 2015-16, there is estimated decrease of 5.05%. There is estimated decrease of about 5.05% over the previous years. While mining contributes a very small percentage in GDP, but it affects the large area in the process. Next, adverse impact of mining. अब इसको point wise लिखना. According to Forest Survey report 2015, the tribal population constitute 30% of the total population of Chhattisgarh, while the recorded forest area is 44%. Signifying the deep dependency of the tribes on the forested land. Second, it is notable that these three states produce 1/4 of total mineral production, 1/4 of the total mineral production in value terms, performs the worst among major states in HDI. Which state provides for most of the taxes to government of India? It is Maharashtra. ठीक है. So now they are performing the worst. So there is a term called resource curse. इसका मतलब समझते हो? See, Africa is having the richest of the mineral resources, diamond, coal, and petroleum gases, and so on. But why they are the poorest of the nation? See, Africa is basically ruled by a sort of a tribal oligarchy. Okay, and successively you can find that there are very less democratically elected government. Most of they are basically the puppets of the West. So what is going to happen that if place is resource rich, it is having resource, okay, the resources are not being utilized for the development of the locals. इनको क्या मिल रहा है? कुछ नहीं. So this term is called resource curse. You have all the resources, but still that resources is even not utilized for your development, then it is resource curse. That means the outsiders are basically taking down your resources and they are earning benefits from it. In Jharkhand, if you are going to visit, there is a specific term diku. दिक्कू का मतलब होता है दुख देने वाला. So the outsiders are termed as Diku there. And even if you are going to visit Jharkhand, the places like Bokaro, Jamshedpur, Dhanbad or Jharia, which is a coal block, there are most of the people who are from three places of the Bihar: Ara, Balia and Chhapra. And most of the engineers who are working in the railway yards or in Jamshedpur, they are from the West Bengal side or the Orissa side. So even if the industries are developed there, it is not benefiting the locals. And if I go by the hunger index, again Jharkhand is on the second spot from bottom. Similar thing with the Chhattisgarh. Similar thing is with the Orissa. So this term is called resource curse. Okay, write it down. It is a resource curse, and put down this resource curse in inverted commas. It is a resource curse where the benefits are not being utilized, Okay, Priyansha, correct. Okay, I'm going to lack of good infrastructure. Priyansha, we are now having a better infrastructure with the help of better and efficient technologies. Abhi wo aa gaya hai. But if you are going to say ki infrastructure, how, Priyansha, you're relating it? Priyansha, any answer? चलो ठीक है, she is going to write back. सब ऑनलाइन ही देख रहा है क्या आजकल? पता नहीं, 3-4 तो इधर है, कुछ इधर है. सर, इट वॉज इन द फॉर्मर. अच्छा, अब फूड सिक्योरिटी तो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, हाँ ठीक है, but again infrastructure is related, Priyansha, to your storage and your supply chain. So either you write down a lack of a good infrastructure, then you can attach those things. ठीक है, we have discussed that part, storage, Priyansha. चलो, कहाँ पे क्या लिखवा रहा था, लाइन क्या था? It is a resource curse. Benefits are not being utilized and major income is being earned by the outsiders. It leads to mass displacement. Next point, it leads to mass displacement of the tribals where rehabilitation has to be done. Next point, the economic scenario in this sector is grim as still we are operating on outdated technologies, leading to less efficiency in extraction. Next point, abundance of natural resource attracts public and private investment which leads to the encroachment and displacement of indigenous people. In which the rights of the tribal communities, the traditional right of the tribal communities and even their constitutional rights are undermined. Next point, the mining sector in India presents a picture of willful lawlessness. इसमें क्या होता है, suppose 10 acres of the land is allotted, so you are going to extract mineral from 15 acres of the land. यही चीज होती है. It is willful lawlessness and negligence. Illegal mining and mining scams is reported from all major states. So you can give the example from Aravali, it is the marbles, Makarana, the places. You can give the example of sand illegal mining in Bihar. There has been a systematic corruption, continuing this one only, there has been a systematic corruption which includes money laundering and tax evasions. Next, it leads to, नहीं पहले वही part लिख लो. Next point, longer lease period and fresh auctioning, longer lease period and fresh, my eye is confused what to write, huh? The longer lease period and fresh auctioning at the end of the lease, fresh auctioning at the end of the lease, comma, with inadequate provision of periodic audit, with inadequate provision for periodic audit further downgrades the regulatory mechanism. It leads to next point, mass deforestation. You can cite the example of Damodar Valley coalfields. It had 65% of the forest cover, which now is only 0.05%. सारा पेड़ काट दिया, 0.05%. बचा कितना? Next, it pollutes the environment as there is lack of a regulatory framework. Example is Odisha Sukinda Valley, Sukinda Valley, produces 97% of chromite. Is the fourth most polluted place in world. Next, disposing of waste. Disposing of waste severely contaminate water bodies. So the people living near the vicinity, are exposed to toxic elements. You might have heard about the Bhopal gas tragedy. ठीक है, तो इसका एग्जाम्पल लिख लो, ब्राह्मी रिवर, BRAHMANI, Brahmani river. It runs through the Sukinda Valley, is polluted. Next, continuous setting up of development projects. Continuous setting up of the development projects and the expanding urban places also leads to encroachment. Which enhances the exploitation and displacement of the tribals by the state and the private investors. Next, harassment from the forest department. Harassment from the forest department either in the form of extortion of money or by arrest in criminal proceedings or arrest in the criminal proceedings are also being reported. Next, leads to overall loss of flora and fauna. Leads to overall loss of flora and fauna, which is lost to biodiversity. Which is lost to biodiversity. प्रॉब्लम्स इतनी है, करना क्या चाहिए? Regulation, reduce, recycle, new technologies must be adopted, and there must be effective balance between the mining and the loss of your biodiversity. Because recently there was a project on I think Kali River, and that was been abandoned. Why? Because 300 species of the birds were being endangered there. So there must be something, and regulatory framework should be also provided that it must contain or dissolute all the illegal impacts. उसको भी देखना पड़ेगा. Policy should be better implemented. कौन करेगा? अथॉरिटेटिव तो होना चाहिए, बट इट मस्ट बी नॉट हाँ, तो सुपरविजन को कौन जाता है? तो दिस इज द बेसिक प्रॉब्लम इन इंडिया. ठीक है, इसीलिए अगर मैं कहता हूं कि हम सब चोर हैं तो कुछ गलत नहीं बोल रहा हूं. ठीक है, राइट इट डाउन. द नीड ऑफ द आर कितना 500 वोट प्लस जा रहा है ना ये सब. ठीक है, फिर अब ऐसा है तो इसको करके 800 वर्ड में लिख लेना. द नीड ऑफ द आर इज टू प्रिपेयर रीजनल प्लान्स. द नीड ऑफ द आवर is to prepare the regional plans to organize and manage mining activity and to minimize the effect on both environment and people. Mining companies should itself look towards reduce, reuse and recycle. Now any question? चलो कोई क्वेश्चन है? नेक्स्ट वन, बायोडाइवर्सिटी. एंड देयर इज वन कॉन्सेप्ट, बायोडाइवर्सिटी हॉटस्पॉट. ये भी हो रहा है. ठीक है, so basically what is biodiversity, how it is going to have the impact on our life, is it a resource to us, what is the access and the benefit, what is the convention on the biological diversities, and what are the initiatives in India. चलो बताओ कुछ कुछ। क्या है, व्हाट इज बायोडाइवर्सिटी? डिफरेंट फॉर्म ऑफ लिविंग, डिफरेंट लाइफ फॉर्म, बस वो हो जाएगा, उसी से काम चल जाएगा। See, the first Earth Summit was the Rio Summit, 1992, successively followed by the Kyoto Protocol, and then there were some Doha round and so on. ठीक है, write it down. Biodiversity includes diversity, species diversity, sorry, species diversity, genetic diversity, and economic ecosystem diversity, contributing to human welfare directly or indirectly. Here's the paragraph. Biodiverse ecosystem provides vital services, such as 1 2 3 करके लिखना, regulation of water levels and flows, protection against extreme weather, next point, protection against extreme weather, next, purification of air and water, prevention of soil erosion, and opportunities for recreational activities. Biodiversity also provide essential supplies such as food, fiber, medicines, etc. Change the paragraph. However, biodiversity faces multiple challenges, from habitat fragmentation, degradation, overexploitation, shrinking genetic diversity, invasive alien species, declining forest resources, climate change and desertification. Due to all these factors we are facing sixth mass extinction. I hope that I had given one sort of a booklet over that. मिल गया था सबको ना? पढ़ा है उसको? नहीं पढ़ा होगा? पढ़ेगा कौन? दिया किस लिए? खेलने के लिए? पढ़ लिया है। तो ग्रेट डाइंग कब है? ग्रेट डाइंग जो टर्म है कब है? किस मास एक्सटिंक्शन का पार्ट है? फर्स्ट, सेकेंड, थर्ड, फोर्थ, फिफ्थ? तो पढ़ा तो उसमें क्या मार्क किया? सी अप्रोक्सीमेटली 80% ऑफ बीज are on the verge of extinction. So suppose that in biodiversity, if bees are going to be extinct, what impact it is going to have? It is going to affect the pollination, and pollination नहीं होगा तो खाना क्या खाओगे? ठीक है? So ultimately it is going to have an impact over us. If you are going to go by the details of the economic value, आप कुछ लिख लो. Pharmaceutical 955 billion USD. Cosmetics 426 billion USD. Food and beverages 11.6 trillion USD. सीड 45 बिलियन यूएसडी, सब डॉलर्स में है. इंडस्ट्रियल बायोफ्यूल्स, एंजाइम्स एटसेट्रा 80 बिलियन यूएसडी. So this is the cost which we are taking from the biodiversities, which we are taking from the flora and fauna. ठीक है? Then successively there is a reduction, right? इस पे कुछ लिख लो पहले. Biodiversity is a major source. Biodiversity is the major source for developing modern drugs, botanical medicines, seed varieties, ornamental horticulture products, biotechnologies, and for personal and cosmetic products. Change the paragraph. It can provide sustainable livelihood. It can provide the sustainable livelihood to rural communities. And tribal communities. Specific in developing countries. Now this biodiversity is declining, so there is a one term called biodiversity hotspot. ये होता क्या है? It is hotspot. That means under the impact of the human intervention and the climate change, the endangered, the species are now being endangered. उसको कहते हैं hotspot. तो write it down. According to the definition by Norman Myers, a biodiversity hotspot is 1 2 3 करके लिखना. दो क्राइटेरिया है. A place having 1500 endemic means वहीं का होना चाहिए. endemic vesicular plant species. and next approx 70% of area 70% of the area is directly under threat or is being destroyed. हो गया, उठ के बैठ. So how many area in India are biodiversity hotspot? That is all over world. 4. One is, write it down, Western Ghat, Northeast region, Indo-Myanmar belt, नॉर्थ ईस्ट में सारा पूरा 8 का 8 स्टेट, और उसी का एक पार्ट हो जाता है, इंडो म्यांमार करोगे तो उसी का पार्ट हो जाता है, दैट इज योर सुंदरबन डेल्टा. ठीक है. एंड 4th इज योर सुंडा लैंड. तो बेसिकली सुंडा लैंड if you are going to go by Sunda land, this is a Sunda Strait, and Sunda land basically comprises of this region of the Malaya Peninsula. This is Malaysia, consisting of this stretch of Indonesia till Wallace Line. This is Wallace Line. In geography, you have to study. Basically, this separates the ecological diversity on the east and the west. Even the fishes do not cross that line. Not even the bird species. जो इधर है इधर उड़ के नहीं आएगा, जो इधर है यहां से उधर नहीं जाता है. ठीक है. But this Sunda land also consists of this Andaman and Nicobar. So that's why this Sunda land, वहां पे हाइफन करके लिख लो, Andaman and Nicobar. These are the 4 places in India which are बायोडाइवर्सिटी हॉटस्पॉट. अंडमान निकोबार भी पूछ सकता है, सुंडा लैंड भी दे सकता है, दोनों ही सही हैं. नहीं, वो भी नहीं. साइबेरियन प्लेन्स आती हैं तो यहां पर आएंगी. ठीक है. और इंडिया में द बेस्ट प्लेस टू विजिट इट इज ड्यूरिंग द फेब सीजन, एंड यू कैन विजिट. इट इज ओनली 2.5 hours. केलाव दे घाना, भरतपुर, मथुरा के जस्ट आगे. इट्स अ वेरी ब्यूटीफुल प्लेस. तो फरवरी में जाओ, आपको मिलेगा बहुत सारा. देयर इज नो एक्सप्लेनेशन. दैट्स व्हाई दिस लाइन हैज बीन ड्रॉन, बिकॉज द जेनेटिक डाइवर्सिटी इज कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट. यू कैन सी फ्लेमिंगो ऑन द ईस्टर्न साइड बट नॉट ऑन द वेस्टर्न साइड. मिलेगा ही नहीं. सो व्हाई दिस इज हैपनिंग इन द वर्ल्ड? देयर आर मेनी थिंग्स व्हिच आर अनएक्सप्लेन्ड. Maybe magnetic radiation, or maybe by the genetic diversity, maybe by the process of the Wagner's continental drift theory, maybe by the plate tectonics. So there are various regions in the world also. ठीक है. तो वो भी आपको जानना है, but not now. अभी मैं इस पे फोकस करूंगा. चलिए. Even if the biological diversity is a global asset, but the increasing threats has led to loss of 45 to 250 species per day. 45 to 250 species per day. The Convention on Biodiversity or Biological Diversity in the first Earth Summit or Rio Earth Summit has given three major objectives. First, conservation of biological diversity. Second, sustainable use of its component. Third, equitable sharing of benefit. Equitable sharing of benefit. The Nagoya Protocol, change the paragraph, the Nagoya, Nagoya, Nagoya Protocol. Nagoya is a place in Japan. Puts stress on access to genetic resources and the fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from their utilization. In addition, it lays emphasis on access of traditional knowledge. Associated with genetic resources by indigenous and local communities. The traditional knowledge is the source of sustainability. See, that's why never take a positive step on GM crops. Okay, still they are on the phase of, that's why we have discussed it in last classes, still they are on the phase of testing. And EU has completely banned it, few of the countries, and even if you want to sell that GM crops, you have to mention the name. There is no such regulation in India. कहीं देखा है मेंशन करता है कि GM crop है, कहीं नहीं मेंशन करता है. And India is the topmost in 5 countries who produces the GM crop. The 37% of the GM crop is being produced by USA itself. So in biofortification we had studied it. ठीक है, in successive period of some 50. See, in fact, the Green Revolution, its impact is now most relevant after some 50 years. It requires a research of 50 years. So it is better to utilize the traditional knowledge to increase the genetic diversity, such as tissue planting, जो हम लोगों ने discuss किया था. तो that is more approachable one. तो ये initiatives in India. The nation possesses 8% of global biodiversity, with 45,000 species of plant and 91,000 species of animal. वो 4 बायोडाइवर्सिटी हॉटस्पॉट लिखा दिया था ना, हिमालय, वेस्टर्न घाट, नॉर्थ ईस्ट एंड टुंडा, उसका सब कंपोनेंट भी आ गया था. ठीक है. India's ecosystem serves millions of the people being a source of raw material and different consumer products. ABS Act. ABS Act को कहते हैं Access to Biological Resources बेसिकली इसका नाम है Access and sorry ABS means Access and Benefit Sharing. Access and Benefit Sharing Regulation Act 2014. It provides for sovereign right of the country. It provides sovereign right of the country over its biological resources. Second, it stops misappropriation of a biological resource and associated traditional knowledge, that is biopiracy. See, any such traditional consumer product which is very in news, अभी बहुत हाइप आ गया उसका, बायोपायरेसी जो चाइना करता है बेसिकली, pirated copies, pirated CDs and so on. So have you known about, do you know about any of the products which is in news? बहुत हर पे टीवी पे उसका ऐड आ जा रहा है. This आदिवासी हेयर ऑयल, have you heard about it? वो क्या है, बाल बढ़ाने का है ना, बट इट इज अ ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज सोर्स. वो तो अभी लॉन्च हुआ, उसके पहले क्या था, आंवला, शिकाकाई, वो पैराशूट लगाओ, देयर वर मेनी प्रोडक्ट्स, बट दिस इज योर ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज सोर्स. ठीक है. एंड अगेन देयर आर मेनी प्रोडक्ट्स व्हिच इज बीइंग एसोसिएटेड विद द आदिवासी हेयर ऑयल, बट इट इज अ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ अ बायोपायरेसी. नाउ थर्ड पॉइंट, इट रेगुलेट्स एक्सेस and use of biological resources. It regulates access and use of biological resource associated knowledge. Fourth, it ensures sustainable utilization of biological resources and equitable benefit sharing. Last, it provides for legal recognition. It provides for legal recognition to biological resource and traditional knowledge. लीगल रिकॉग्निशन एबीएस एक्ट में आ गया है ना. एक्ट क्या है, इट इज अ लीगल डॉक्यूमेंट, इट हैज बीन पास्ड बाय द पार्लियामेंट इटसेल्फ. तो पहले ऐसा कुछ नहीं था. देयर इज अ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ ट्रिप्स, ट्रेड रिलेटेड इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स. ठीक है, ये WTO से आया था. तो उसका ये कॉन्सेप्ट होता है कि इफ यू आर गोइंग टू बिल्ड योर ओन प्रोडक्ट, देन you have to patent it, and once it is being patented by you, and suppose if I want to use your technology, then I have to pay you. It is not free to all. ठीक है, तो अभी जैसे आदिवासी हेयर ऑयल हो गया, इट इज बीइंग पेटेंटेड नाउ, अगर पेटेंट नहीं कराएगा तो कोई पायरेसी भी कर सकता है, तो ये उसको लीगल सैंक्शन कर दिया ना अब, यू कैन नॉट गो फॉर द बायो पायरेसी. So it is to protect your traditional knowledge itself. Now, any questions from the last four? Now I'm going to come to the last one, that is biofuel. ये भी न्यूज में आया. गवर्नमेंट का टारगेट 2024 ही था मगर हुआ नहीं. बायोफ्यूल्स, बाकी पीछे का पलट के देखो, कोई क्वेश्चन है पूछ लो, 5 मिनट्स. नहीं रिवाइज करता भी कि नहीं, कैसे लिख के चला जाता है सब. हाँ रिवाइज करते हैं, यू रिवाइज दिस एट होम. चलो, दिस इज द गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसी. Biofuels, types, uses, etc. What is a fuel? Anything which on burning produces heat and light, it is termed as fuel. So if I am to burn this pen, if it is going to produce heat and light energy, then it is also a fuel. I can also be burned, but can I be an example of good fuel? The fuel must have efficiency, and we have seen that in India our almost 67% of the energy requirement, it comes from thermal based power plant, that is coal, which creates more and more pollution. Okay, now we are moving towards different forms of energy such as renewable energy, right? So yahan par hum log we are moving towards wind, solar, osmotic energy, वो भी काज कराना है, then ocean thermal energy and so on. But these energy efficiencies of these renewable sources are very low. It cannot fulfill our basic demand of the energy. Even during the power cuts, 17% of the energy requirement in India is by your diesel generators. So government have adopted a policy to extract the biofuel. ठीक है, तो बायोफ्यूल का बेसिक, बायोफ्यूल का मतलब क्या हुआ? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ यू आर गोइंग टू फर्मेंट द एक्सट्रैक्ट ऑफ द शुगर, व्हाट विल बी कन्वर्टेड इनटू अल्कोहल. वी कैन कन्वर्ट इट इनटू द मिथेनॉल एंड वी कैन ब्लेंड दैट मिथेनॉल इनटू द पेट्रोलियम प्रोडक्ट. If you are going to blend it by 10%, 20% and so on successively, depending upon how much biofuel you are producing, depending on, we can increase it. Similarly, for example, we have a waste in vegetable products that can again go by the anaerobic decomposition in a gas chamber, and that can produce methane, so that can be utilized as a fuel. Though the efficiency is less, but at least for the sake of the cleaner environment, we must promote such sort of a technologies. Now in energy you have to study, for example, solar energy. Is it a good source of energy? Galat. Always remember that energy is a part of human and economic geography, and I have told you all 100 times, first apply your brain there. Solar panels consist of arsenic. अभी सोलर तो कर रहा है, डिस्पोज कहाँ करेगा? आर्सेनिक एंड सिलिकॉन. तो these are carcinogenic material, कैंसर कॉजिंग है, and still that R&D has not been done. अब जैसे मैं ट्रिप स्वैप बात कर रहा था, ठीक है, बेसिकली एनर्जी में क्या होता है, देयर इज कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑफ पार्टी, COPs मीटिंग चलते रहती है. लास्ट कहाँ हुई थी? आई थिंक यूरोप में कहीं हुई थी, आई फॉरगेट द प्लेस. ठीक है, दुबई, यूएई शायद हुआ होगा, देख लो, लास्ट का छोड़ दो. हाँ, COP 29 या 27 हुआ था. अब अगले साल के लिए पढ़ना, अगले साल COP आएगा. देयर इज वन कॉन्सेप्ट कि पर कैपिटा एमिशन एंड ओवरऑल एमिशन, इसी दो पे झगड़ा चलता है, ठीक है। इफ यू आर गोइंग टू गो बाय द पॉल्यूटिंग कंट्रीज, इट इज चाइना, इंडिया एंड यूएसए. सो द वेस्टर्न सोसाइटीज बेसिकली सपोर्टेड बाय यूएसए सेज टू इंडिया, या यहां पे इंडिया चाइना एक है, भाई भाई हो जाता है, कहता है कि यू आर पॉल्यूटिंग द मोस्ट. ये दोनों क्या कहता है, योर पर कैपिटा एमिशन, मतलब अ पर्सन, वन पर पर्सन is 5 times higher. We are the poor country. यहां पर लोग पुअर मी पॉलिसी, अभी क्या है, वी आर विश्व गुरु ना, बन गया है. देन वी आर अ 5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी, वो भी बन जाएगा कब तक, 2047 तक. तो देन वी आर गोइंग टू से, तो दिस विश्व गुरु से कि वी डू नॉट हैव सच सफिशिएंट अमाउंट फ्रॉम R&D on new technologies. So you transfer the technology to us for renewable energies. For example, as I remember in 2015 or 16 after COP, there was specific picture which was given in the Hindu. That cartoon was published by the Dawn Australia. तो उस पिक्चर में कार्टून था कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया हैज सेंट दी सोलर पैनल्स and Indians are eating it here. So there was a huge uproar on that. अब सर्च करना मिल जाएगा. Now they are saying कि if we are going to transfer the technology, we have spent some billions of dollars in R&D. So why we are going to give you for free? So this is the major conflict there. ये कह रहा है कि आप लोग रिड्यूस कराओ, ये कह रहा है पर कैपिटा आपका 5 टाइम्स ज्यादा है, तो व्हाई वी आर गोइंग टू रिड्यूस. एट द सेम टाइम योर एनर्जी रिक्वायरमेंट हैज टू सर्व 1.5 बिलियन, तो इट हैज टू बी ब्लेंडेड विथ मेनी एस्पेक्ट्स. माइंडलेस एप्लीकेशन ऑफ रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी इज ऑल्सो नॉट रिक्वायर्ड. समटाइम्स गवर्नमेंट गो फॉर ऑल डूइंग रॉन्ग थिंग. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, देयर इज अ प्लेस इन Madhya Pradesh, that is Devas. It is just near Indore. If you are going to visit there, ठीक है. Now Devas is known for wind energy because I was frequently going to Bhopal and Indore, so I know that place. And if you are going to go there, there are hundreds of windmill, and construction of one mill costs you huge amount of money. That is around 2 crores. ठीक है. There are hundred of windmills. And I have never seen them operating at 50% even. जब हवा चलेगी तब तो घूमेगा. So for the concept of the smart city, you build that project, it is a complete failure. Similarly, government has developed one solar plant in your जब J&K region. Now obviously that is a snow-fed region. तो वहाँ सोलर पावर क्या काम कर लेगा, बगैर क्योंकि आपको लगाना था, तो that's why you have built it up. Tamil Nadu has the maximum potential of the wind energy. So Suzlon is having there, and they are operating on the coastal area because minimum 5 kilometer per hour of the air is required to rotate the turbines. windmill देखा है कभी, उसका टर्बाइन देखा है, पूरे कमरे के बराबर होता है एक. That is the wingspan. So we must go for blending of this, because again it is being blended with the petroleum products, and petroleum products leads to higher emission, though it is the only source which is very efficient source. Coal is not efficient source. The amount, what is efficiency? The amount of energy in kilojoules which is being released by burning 1 gram of your fuel. तो 1 ग्राम आप कोल जलाएगा, 1 ग्राम आप पेट्रोलियम जलाएगा, किस में ज्यादा आएगा एनर्जी? ऑब्वियसली पेट्रोलियम में जाएगा. आज घर पे जाना, just take 1 bucket which is filled with water and just pour down 1 cap of approximately even 1 spoon of petroleum over that water and burn it. करना मत कभी, घर में आग लग जाएगी. मैंने ये सब एक्सपेरिमेंट किए हुए हैं. So that is efficiency. So we must also increase successively the efficiency. इंडीड वी आर मूविंग टुवर्ड्स द हाइड्रोजन पावर, अभी आ रहा है वो भी न्यूज में, बट स्टिल इंडिया में अभी एफिशिएंसी और पूरे वर्ल्ड में एफिशिएंसी क्या है, कम है. वी आर मूविंग टुवर्ड्स द ई व्हीकल विच कंसिस्ट ऑफ लिथियम आयन बैटरीज. डिस्पोज कहाँ करोगे, इट इज कार्सोजेनिक इन नेचर. तो अगेन गोइंग फॉर कंप्लीट ई व्हीकल्स इज नॉट इवन रिक्वायर्ड. ठीक है, चलो उसको हम लोग एनर्जी भी डिटेल से करेंगे, बट अभी हम बायोफ्यूल्स पे आते हैं. लिख लीजिए, ऑलमोस्ट एनी ऑर्गेनिक, ऑर्गेनिक मीन्स कार्बन बेस्ड substance can be fuel. Biofuel is a source of energy. Biofuels is the source of energy derived from the living matter through biological processes. It is derived from food and non-food products. Non-edible parts of plant, waste materials derived from food sources like bagasse, B-A-G-A-S-S-E. What is bagasse? It is a leftover of sugarcane. That is termed as bagasse. Biofuel can be solid. Point wise लिखना, biofuel can be solid. Solid में क्या आ जाएगा? What type of biofuel? वैसा बायोफ्यूल जो सॉलिड हो. अभी दिमाग में इथेनॉल ही चल रहा है. Just go by the definition and tell me what type of biofuel is solid. वेजिटेबल तो खाएगा, पील्स, वो सॉलिड है. अच्छा, तो मान लो कि इफ आई एम हैविंग अ कॉलीफ्लावर, आई एम गोइंग टू टेक आउट द लीफ, आई एम गोइंग टू बर्न इट, विल इट बर्न? काउ डंग, ठीक है, इट इज अ सॉलिड वेस्ट. वुड, इट इज अ सॉलिड वेस्ट. और आप उसको चेंज कर देते, ड्राइड लीव्स, सूखा पत्ता. ठीक है, राइट इट डाउन. एग्जाम्पल, वुड, ड्राइड प्लांट मटेरियल एंड काउ डंग. नेक्स्ट इज लिक्विड. So it is bioethanol, biodiesel, and then it can be a gaseous. तो कहते हैं बायोगैस या सिनगैस. काउ डंग से आ सकते हैं. But for example, but for that you have to send that cow dung in a decomposer plant, and then there is an anaerobic decomposition without the presence of oxygen which produces CH4. ठीक है, देखो generations of biofuel. There are 3 generations. First generation, it includes vegetable oil, biodiesel, ethanol and methanol. Second generation, It includes turning crop into liquid fuels using chemical processes such as biohydrogen. They are more efficient as compared to first generation. Now third generation. Do you know which green substance absorbs maximum amount of CO2? Algae. It is algae. Okay, so third will be algae based. Write it down. Third generation are made using oil produced from algae grown in ponds or closed reactor. The advantage is the algae derived fuel don't need vast amount of farmland, but they require more water and fertilizers. Common types of biofuel. अब कितने तरह का होता है? First, bioethanol. It is the fermentation of sugar and starches which provides bioalcohol. Bioalcohol such as ethanol, propanol, butanol. ये अल्केन एल्कीन एल्काइन पढ़ा था ना स्टैंडर्ड 10th में ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री, उसी का OH ग्रुप हो जाता है. ब्यूटेन मीन्स हाँ हाइड्रोकार्बन, CH4 नहीं C4. C4 आ गया तो ब्यूटेन हो गया. प्रोपेन that is pentane. C3 is propane. Ethane, methane, propane, butane, pentane, hexane and so on. That is octane value. Next is biodiesel. Fermentation of sugar and starches सेम होगा. ब्यूटेनॉल, प्रोपेनॉल, इथेनॉल. Third is biogas. First generation, gaseous in nature, produced from any kind of biomass. Bioethers. Next is bioether. Primary source is wheat and beet sugar. Wheat and beet, B-E-A-T, beet sugars can also be prepared from waste glycerol, Glycerol. Next, wood. This is the fifth one. Sixth, algae based जो लिखा दिया है. Seventh, biohydrogen. Gaseous biofuel produced with some mixture of other gases such as CO and CO2. Last is energy crops. CO and CO2, कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड एंड डाइऑक्साइड, मगर उसमें कॉम्बिनेशन होता है. लास्ट इज एनर्जी क्रॉप्स. इट इज द प्राइमरी कैटेगरी ऑफ सॉलिड बायोफ्यूल which is used for burning purpose. अच्छा, can you take a guess कि which sort of a fuel, including your petroleum, liquefied natural gases, LPG or PNG, CNG, wood, coal, which is used most widely in world? It is wood. फिर आप लोग यहीं अटक जाते हैं. Why don't you think about the tribal belt of Africa, of Amazon? It does not have access to CNG or PNG. So they use this wood. And still in India, the 30% of the household, and after the failure of the Ujjwala Yojana, approximately 99% of the household are utilizing wood. ठीक है? So there is 99% return in Ujjwala Yojana. पहला तो सब्सिडी पे था, मिल गया. दूसरा सिलेंडर लेके देख लो. There is only 79 rupees of the subsidy, which a common man is going to have, and then they have the, I think Ujjwala Yojana की तरह 600 में आता है LPG. So even if a farmer, I have given you the data of Bihar, who he is not even earning 500 rupees per month, do you think that he is going to take 600 rupees of a LPG cylinder? So it is again a failure. So around the world, this data is approximately 60%. अभी भी wood use करता है. Now, disadvantage. Can you discuss it? क्या हो सकता है? What is the disadvantage of the biofuels? They have efficiency is less. Efficiency is less, and तो बायोफ्यूल्स पे तो जा ही इसलिए रहे हैं ताकि मतलब एक क्लीनर मिल जाए. हाँ, तो एट सम टाइम इट मे बी कॉन्टेमिनेटेड नाइट्रस ऑक्साइड प्रोडक्शन. ठीक है. एंड अरे फूड सिक्योरिटी देखो ना. तब आप कॉर्न यूटिलाइज कर रहे हो फॉर स्टार्च, यू आर शुगर केन फ्रॉम योर स्टार्च एंड इथेनॉल. खाओगे क्या? तब इथेनॉल ब्लेंडेड कर दोगे. The population of world is approximately 8 billion and corn is one of the staple food crop of Africa. In USA, the corn और जो भुट्टा या मेज आप लोग कहते हो, it is being eaten in India also as a staple food, but in USA it is only produced to feed the pigs and cows. Why? Because this maize or a corn consists of higher amount of starch. तो जितना जल्दी पिग और काउ को खिलाएगा उतना मोटा होगा. तो बीफ इंडस्ट्री is going to increase, and see how we are using that maize for our staple food crop. So it is going to hamper our food security. आपको शुगर चाहिए ही चाहिए, आपको कॉर्न चाहिए ही चाहिए, राइस चाहिए ही चाहिए, वेजिटेबल वेस्ट से आप प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हो, वेजिटेबल से तो यूज नहीं करोगे ना, फिर तो गया आपका। एंड एट द सेम टाइम देयर इज अ लिमिटेशन ऑफ द बायोगैस, जो सॉलिड वेस्ट होता है उसमें भी दिक्कत है। फर्स्ट थिंग, इफ यू आर गोइंग टू गो टू द विलेज, इट इज कलेक्टिंग ऑफ दैट गोबर और द काउ डंग, it is a traditional source. I mean ki cow dung cakes had been used traditionally, but at present time, first the collection of that cow dung waste is thought as a very क्या filthy practices, गंदा लगता है। And at the same time, ठीक है, India is having the largest cattle, that is approximately 19 crore, but what is the produce of the cow dung? अरे खाएगा इतना तो इतना ही तो निकालेगा, कि जिस प्रोपोर्शन से खाएगा उतना प्रोपोर्शन से डंग निकाल देगा, इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल। ठीक है, तो अगेन दैट प्रोडक्शन इज लिमिटेड एंड ओवरऑल मेंटेनेंस ऑफ दैट सॉलिड वेस्ट, दैट गोबर गैस चैम्बर, इट इंक्रीजेस द कॉस्ट एंड इट इज नॉट इफेक्टिव। तो ये प्रॉब्लम है। एट द सेम टाइम, इफ यू आर गोइंग टू गो फॉर माइंडलेस एप्लीकेशन ऑफ दिस प्रोडक्शन, it is going to degrade the value of cultivable land, वो भी खत्म हो जाएगा आपका। ठीक है, राइट इट डाउन। प्राइस क्या होगा, कम या ज्यादा? ज्यादा। तो फ्यूल क्या होना चाहिए? द फर्स्ट मोस्ट क्राइटेरिया ऑफ द फ्यूल इज दैट इट मस्ट बी चीप, मस्ट बी एक्सेसिबल। ठीक है, राइट इट डाउन। डिसएडवांटेज, फर्स्ट, ट्रेडिशनल फ्यूल्स have higher output as compared to the biofuels. Second, growing crops and cutting forest, growing crops and cutting forests for the production of biofuels increases carbon emission. Third, it comes on higher prices. Fourth, escalates the food cost. And hampers the food security. Fifth, the biomass production requires lot of water. For developing cultivable land is the loss of biodiversity and habitat. Habitat and biodiversity. Growing the same crop for the production of biofuels degrades the cultivable land. There is a concept of crop rotation. You know about it? Between two crops, you have to go for the leguminous plant productions so that they can have the nitrogen in them. Next, contaminated nitrous oxide productions takes place. Contaminated nitrous oxide is produced. There is a limitation in vehicle use. There is a limitation in vehicle use. डेटा लिख लो। ऑब्वियसली यूएसए 39% प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है, तो नॉर्थ अमेरिका पूरा मिला के 39% कर रहा है अभी, बाय द डेटा ऑफ 2021 है। तो ये गवर्नमेंट का पॉलिसी। सो देयर इज अ मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ पेट्रोलियम एंड नेचुरल गैस, तो इन्हीं का पॉलिसी है, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ पेट्रोलियम एंड नेचुरल गैस। It has notified that oil companies shall sell ethanol blended petrol with ethanol up to 20% throughout the country from 1st April 2023. Which is to be increased gradually. An indicative target of 5% blending of biodiesel is proposed by 2030. The goal is to be achieved by 1 2 3 करके लिखना। Setting up of second generation biorefineries. In fact, government is giving heavy subsidy on this also. Next, development of new feedstock for biofuels. Third, development of new technologies for conversion. Fourth, reinforcing ongoing supplies through increasing domestic production. Last, creating suitable environment for the biofuels and its integration with main fuel. अब ये गवर्नमेंट का टारगेट है, दिस इज द योर पॉलिसी। फिनिश्ड, देख लो and see, I have provided this and it will be on a weekly basis. So it consists of your current affair. The news is from 29th of July to 3rd of August. ठीक है, आप लोगों को फॉरवर्ड हो गया होगा कॉपी, आई थिंक नहीं हुआ? आया? देखो ग्रुप तो देखो एक बार, आ गया ना? तो जस्ट गो थ्रू इज, फॉर एग्जाम्पल साइट्स, इट वाज इन न्यूज, ठीक है। अगर वुड पे आपको गवर्नमेंट ने किया है, देन इट इज अ मेक अ धातु प्रोजेक्ट विच इज ऑन अकरावती एंड कावेरी रिवर कॉन्फ्लुएंस, दैट इज इन न्यूज ऑफ कर्नाटका। Arctic dipole, it was in news because of the greater melting rate of the dark oxygen. This is given in the Hindu itself. Details hai ki what is dark oxygen. Then there is a concept of high sea treaty. It was being given in Express, I think. DigiLocker, it was in news in Hindu. क्रिस्पर अगेन हिंदू पे पूरा पेज आया हुआ था, जो पॉइंट्स है मैंने बस वही जनरेट किए हैं। पंप स्टोरेज हाइड्रो पावर इंडिया में 5 है, कल ही इस पे आया था, ठीक है। तो इंडिया में उन्होंने पूरा नहीं लिखा था, इट वाज नागार्जुन सागर, मैंने डिटेल दे दिया है। इट इज ऑन कृष्णा रिवर आंध्र प्रदेश, कदाना इट इज ऑन माही रिवर गुजरात, कदमपरई रिवर बेसिन इन तमिलनाडु, पंचेट दामोदर रिवर झारखंड एंड भीरा रिवर कुंडालिका महाराष्ट्र। तो हिंदू में बस नागार्जुन सागर, कदाना ये सब लिखा हुआ था, तो आपके पास डिटेल भी मिल जाएगी व्हाट इज पंप स्टोरेज और यूनियन बजट में क्या कहा गया है। देन देयर इज न्यूज इन इंसाइफिलाइटिस जो अभी गुजरात में चल रहा है, देयर इज हायर डेथ। सॉइल लिक्विफिकेशन, वी हैव गॉन फॉर द सबसिडेंस ऑफ द अर्बन प्लेसेस, so there is a soil liquefaction. Then privilege motion, obviously it has been moved against your PM Modi. So is Attorney General can be present during the privilege motion, और Attorney General के against क्या privilege motion ला सकते हैं? I'm expecting from you, अभी इन्होंने पॉलिटी नहीं पढ़ा। Can a privilege motion can be brought against the Attorney General? Yes. Why? Because Attorney General has the right to speak in the proceedings of the House. So if any person has the right to speak in the proceedings of the House, a privilege motion can be brought against it. ठीक है, जो भी हाउस के प्रोसीडिंग में बात कर सकता है या जाएगा, he can speak, but he can attend and he can speak and take part in the proceedings. तो प्रोजेक्ट मोशन लाएगा एंड देयर इज अ सक्सेसिव, अब तो मैं भूल गया हूं इसलिए मैंने दे दिया है। देयर इज आर्टिकल 105 के आसपास होना चाहिए। Then there is a privilege committee also. किस आर्टिकल में है, कहीं दिया होगा देख लेना। आर्टिकल 361 of the Constitution provides for privileges for the President. Article 105 of the Constitution expresses mention 2 privileges, that is freedom of speech and parliament. Then rule number 222 chapter 20 लोक सभा proceedings. तो खैर उतना मत पढ़ना, मगर ये तो पता होना चाहिए कि अटॉर्नी जनरल के खिलाफ आता है, तो खत्म कर चुका है सिलेबस ना, रिवाइज करो। देन देयर इज काराकोरम एनोमली, ठीक है। बेसिकली काराकोरम ग्लेशियर इज नॉट मेल्टिंग, रादर इट इज फ्रीजिंग, रिवर्स थिंग इज हैपनिंग देयर, तो वो न्यूज था। देन देयर वाज अ ग्लोबल स्ट्रगल फॉर पैंडेमिक ट्रीटी, this editorial was published in your Hindu, I think a day before yesterday. So there was a meeting of the 194 countries of the WHO, तो उस पे ये था कोविड, पोस्ट कोविड ये था, and it was 77th World Health Assembly in Geneva. Then there was a news on retrovirus in Science Tech, and finally there are 2 places in news, that is Lake Kivu of Africa and there is Bohai Gulf in China. बोहाई गल्फ में आपको यूनेस्को हेरिटेज साइट दिया गया है माइग्रेटरी बर्ड्स के लिए, एंड लेक किवू इज बेसिकली ऑन द ब्रिंक ऑफ एक्सप्लोजन, तो देख लेना उसे। अभी वी आर गोइंग टू कंटिन्यू विद दिस मेन स्टाइल राइटिंग, ठीक है। I have given you a specific question on mining. मिल गया, लिख के ले आप भेज देना, ठीक है। And most probably in next class I will be taking from Imphal, so it will be I think online only. I'm going to Imphal on 6th, ठीक है। तो maybe online ही होगा, if other teacher will be there then it will be an offline class, ठीक है। बड़ा अच्छा पेपर लेता है लिखने के लिए।